I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. Welcome to Connections on Purpose. Whether you're here with us live on Zoom, joining us on Facebook, or watching later on YouTube, I'm glad you're here. This is your time to slow down, fill up, and connect with other heart-centered women who are making a difference in the world. And I'm blessed to have one of those women with me today. Sree Meleth is speaking on Beyond the Picket Fence, outgrowing your tribe without losing yourself, navigating the tribe safety gap. Sree is a transformational life and business coach, certified EFT practitioner, and public health researcher. Her lived experience has made Sree a gentle and supportive person who holds the space for her clients to work through their distress and emerge on the other side with a calm, powerful belief in themselves. And you can learn more about Sree at freeingourselves.com. That link is also in the text of this video. Sree, as I said before we went on camera, I just am so intrigued by your title because I don't think I've ever seen that in print or on video anywhere. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. So welcome, and you're on.
Thank you, Ginny. Thank you so much for the community, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share. Let me share my screen. All right. So what are we talking about? There's your traditional picket fence. This is what.
Sree, excuse me, Sree, I'm not seeing any. I'm not seeing. There we go. Okay,
Okay.
good.
Okay. So let's start again. There is your traditional picket fence. This is something that is very out of my tradition, but it has come to mean the same thing, right? The tradition, the expectation, the house with the white picket fence and two kids and a dog. Those are all the things that a lot of us grew up with as expectations of what we need to do. So before I go too far here, and who am I? I grew up in Bombay. I'm from the state of Kerala, which is right down here in the south, but I grew up in Bombay, and I lived, for most of my life, I lived in what would be called a joint family, which is not a traditional joint family, but in India, like we lived in a two-bedroom apartment with sometimes 14 people living together, right? There were uncles, there were aunts, there were cousins. It was like a community living together, and everybody knew everybody else's business. And a thing about boundaries didn't even exist, doesn't exist in Indian families in general. There were two versions of me, even growing up, as there still are. There is this little girl who lived in that two-bedroom apartment which was very noisy. There were lots of very, very loud men who had tempers. One of the things that I remember a lot is I had an uncle my mother's younger brother was gay, and there was an occasion when his older brother actually beat him in front of us because of something that he had done at work, acting out his gayness. So it was loud, it was noisy, it did not feel safe. At the same time, I was also very, very inspired by Gandhiji. When I was in fifth grade, I started the Helping Hand Club. I was this little person who was full of wonder, who was full of awe, who had all of these ambitions. And I think I shared this in one of the last meetings I attended here about how I had created this club. We collected old newspapers, we sold them, we had old clothes that we shared with people who were less fortunate. We took the money from the newspaper sales to pay for the excursions for our friends who couldn't pay. And there's this journal in India called the Illustrated Weekly, and they had published all of the NGOs there. And I said, one day the Helping Hand Club is going to be in there. And my mom said something about, oh my God, I would be, that would be amazing. And I turned around and said to her, oh, I don't know if you'll be alive then. But that was the level of ambition I had. And I got yelled at because my aunt got really mad at me and said, how could you dare say something like that about your mother? And it just so happened that she died when I was 19 in a plane crash. So, and it's still, I still tear up when I talk about it. But the point of this whole slide is to say that in all of us, both of these versions of us exist. There is the terrified, scared part who wants to be safe and who's willing to do anything to feel that safety. And there is this other part of us, particularly for those of us who are in communities like this, who know that there is a bigger mission in life, who know that there is more to do than just satisfy the white picket fence story. And so why do we hold on to that picket fence story so much? The need to belong is an evolutionary need, right? So this is one of the papers that is cited a lot. The desire for interpersonal attachments is a fundamental human motivation, and this was the first paper that wrote about it as that fundamental. And why is it that fundamental? It's because it was how we evolved, right? In evolution, being part of the tribe was the way to be safe. So the brain developed in a way that when the group succeeds, when we feel part of the group, we get dopamine hits. And what is the opposite of that? So as a result of which the brain is wired to survive and not to seek truth. So when we are telling ourselves that we are not enough, when we are telling ourselves that that is not safe, to all of those, that is not the truth. But we want to believe it because that is one way for us to survive. So that's a Substack, that's just a reference to that. What is the cost of safety? What happens when we try to step away from that picket fence dream is that the amygdala fires, right? So the lizard brain fires, and we get into the fight, flight, freeze response. And it is activated every time you step beyond the fence. You make more money than people in your community have, in your tribe have made, and make it in one of the things that Andrea brought up in our discussion was, I'm going to work less, but I'm going to make more. And that is supposed to be a no-no in many, particularly middle class families. There are statements that will say that if you make money without working hard enough, you're probably cheating somebody. And we've got enough billionaires around to make that seem true. So also, when you step up to speak your truth, right? So I also shared that I decided not to put the statement about me separating from my husband in my Facebook post about this talk, because that truth is not something that I feel ready to share with the community at large, and particularly with my family, because what we have been taught, particularly Indian women, when we are growing up, the ideal that we have, the equivalent of the picket fence would be Sita, the kind of docile, don't rock the boat, mythological figure who just follows her husband and obeys her husband and, is just worships at his feet kind of person. And for me to have stepped out of that, and what is informative is that I didn't do that until my father passed. My father passed in February of 2009, and I moved out of the marriage in June of 2009. I would not have dared do it when he was alive. So that is how this works for us. So when we get that kind of reaction from the family, it does feel like a gut punch. And the message you're carrying is that if you get too big, they will reject you. And the cost of rejection is that you will die, because that is the survival instinct. If I don't belong to this tribe, I will die. So what do we typically do? This is part of what I'll be talking about next week. We engage in productive distraction. We try to tell ourselves that no, we are doing important things. We enough so that we're not getting too big, right? So in the entrepreneur world, it might be something like, oh, my website is not good enough yet, or my lead magnet is not good enough yet, or I'm not yet ready to be seen and speak out. The other thing that we do is we become the burden carrier. And I think this came up a lot as well in our discussion. If I am constantly needed by everyone around me, if I'm carrying everybody else's weight and living their lives or helping them live their lives, then my family, my team, my clients will not abandon me. We use the busyness as a distraction to avoid the mission. So what is a different way to do this? It is to practice, to learn, to feel safe in the body before we step out. So because it is the body, it is the physiology that is stopping us from doing something that will not be safe, right? So in order to be able to step out in the way that we know we need to, the thing to do is to feel safe in the body. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to take you all through a meditation. And I'm going to stop sharing just because I want to see all your faces while I do that. And then I'll come back. I have like 1 or 2 more slides here. So I want you all to just close your eyes. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your butt in the chair. Bring both your palms to your chest, to your heart. And take 3 deep breaths, as if you're breathing from the soles of your feet all the way to the top of your head, and let it go with a sigh. Now, focus in on your feet. I call this the golden light meditation or getting fully embodied. Feel your feet. Imagine this light coming from the center of the earth, the core. This is your unique, energetic force. It comes in, fills your feet up, goes back down the core to really ground you, wraps itself around the core of the earth, moves back up, comes back again. Your feet are filled. You can feel this light moving up your ankles, your calves, your shins, the sides of your legs. Moves up your knee. This light and energy is soft, it's warm, it's golden, it is in you and around you. Moves up your knees, your thighs, fills your hips up, moves up your lower abdomen, your lower back. You can feel it moving up the sides of your body, where your arms touch your body, a part of the body that we ignore so much. Moves through your abdomen, your mid back, through your diaphragm, through your heart space, your upper back, your upper chest, all the way to your shoulders. It spills down your upper arm, your forearm, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Moves up your neck, your jawbone. You can feel it kind of clasping your face. The back of your head, the top of your head, and just visualize this column of golden light around you and inside you. This is your really very safe space. Now focus in on that space behind your palms, behind your heart, and in front of your spine. And feel and listen and actually notice the stillness that is at your core. There is a stillness that is at your core that is available to you all the time. It just takes this kind of a practice to bring you in there and to feel the sense of that. That silence, that stillness is like the eye of the storm, and you can always find it regardless of what is going on around you. And I want you to just stay there for 30 seconds. I'm going to count in my mind to 30, and I say, listen to the silence and let that silence fill you up. And I'll be back in 30 seconds. Now, I want you to spend the next 10 breaths on heart focused breathing. So, what you're doing is you're breathing as if air is coming in through your heart and going out of your heart. This is a very powerful technique to bring coherence to the energy field, the electromagnetic field that is yours, that is around you. As you do this, I also want you to feel that space of that stillness inside you expand a little bit, enough so that you can invite the version of you that feels scared into that space. So you're breathing as if you're breathing in and out through your heart, and you are imagining that space within you expand so that you can invite a version of you that is scared into it. That's another 30 seconds. I'll be back. And the reason to bring in that version of you that is scared is it is that version of you that often makes you cringe before you're allowed to step out, before you step up onto the speaking stage, or before you are ready to publish something or speak. And what can become a daily practice is going in here and talking to that little one and telling her that you recognize that she is afraid and that she has reason to be afraid, but you are here now and you can hold her and comfort her, and this is not her responsibility anymore. Just let her feel that comfort and do this as an exercise. Every time you feel afraid to step, to have a difficult conversation, to share something in a crowd, to publish something, become aware of that person inside you that is that scared and learn to hold her with compassion and grace and love so that she is not acting up as you step up to be the person you're meant to be in the world. I'm going to leave you there for another 30 seconds and we can come back and I will start sharing my screen again. All right, when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. So remember, you do not have to shrink to keep your ancestors, your family, or your peers comfortable. This true world peace does not come from contorting yourself like cumin in a dish where it doesn't belong. There is a story behind the cumin, which we can talk about if we have time. True safety, true peace within comes from stepping into your original wholeness or into the knowledge that you are enough, as Lita was talking about. You are enough exactly as you are. There is a version of you that believes that you are not enough, but you have the power to hold her and keep her comfortable and make her feel safe. And this can be a daily practice for those of us who know we have a bigger mission in the world. My name is Dr. Sree Meleth. I am a scientist mystic, and I am here to tell you it is finally safe to be as big as your mission calls you to be. Thank you. I do have two things that I can offer you. One is my masterclass that is coming up. I'll put these links in the chat too. I have a masterclass coming up this Saturday. It's 11 to 12:30. It's a 90-minute masterclass. It's a free event where we will be going into some of this and doing some more of these practices. I also have a not free, a $97 21-day set of practices that take you through learning to feel safe in your body, letting go of expected roles and obligations, and then in the third week, really teaching you to step up into your full self. So let me just stop sharing, and that is me ready for questions.
Now we're going to take questions after we stop the recording,
Okay.
okay? Wow, Sree, that was the meditation was beautiful and very, very, very impactful for me. And thank you for naming some things that I don't know if I'm the only one here, but I didn't have words for some of the things. I've never heard of, the white picket fence, of course, we all aspire to that, especially if we were children of the 50s and 60s, without really knowing what it meant, because I never really saw a successful, it was just an illusion that we had out there. So thank you so much for that. Typically before I sign off, I always ask the people who are here to unmute and let's show our applause, but I don't feel like that's appropriate right now because I want to stay in this space of quiet. So let's just give Sree some signals here that she can feel our love and see our support. So thank you so much, Sree. Really appreciate what you offered us today. And for everyone here on Zoom, no, I'm not going to do that. So I want to just to everyone here who is live or catching the replay, thank you for being part of our community today. And if you want to join us for future connections on purpose gatherings on Zoom or in person, or explore On Purpose Woman magazine, just visit opwgc.com. You'll find opportunities for inspiration, connection, growth, both personally and professionally. So until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, stay connected, and stay on purpose. Thank you for watching.